What's good, YouTube? In today's video, it's a little different. I'm going back to a tier list video, and if you guys didn't know already, I've done a few of these in the past, ranking every single gun that's currently in Warzone, putting them in tiers and telling you guys what my opinion is on them. And I haven't done one in a while, so I wanted to run it back, give you guys another updated one, go through the entire tier list, give you guys the S tier guns. I might not know some guns, but we're gonna go through, do an entire tier list. Definitely stay tuned for that. But real quick, if you guys are new here, hit the sub button, leave a like, leave a comment, hit that bell to be notified when I put my daily videos. Also, make sure you go follow the Twitch. I'm live over there every single day. Without further ado, let's hop straight into the tier list. First up is the CWAK. I think a lot of people are using it as one of the meta guns right now, and it's so solid. I don't know if it's S tier or anything, but I think as of right now, I would put it in probably A tier. Just as a secondary or even a primary now, it is just gross. It has really no recoil and great damage. Modern Warfare AK, in my opinion, is not nearly as good as the CWAK. I'm probably going to put this one down in C tier because if you compare the two, the MWAK has much worse recoil and just overall not as good of a gun. So I'm going to toss that one in C tier. Next up is the Amax, easy S tier. I don't even know how to talk about it. Like, yeah, I got a random nerf recently of a 32 to 31 damage point, but overall it is still the best gun in the game easily. Next up is the AN94. Really terrible gun. Like, the AN94 is so bad. Like, it is actually bad. If we're comparing it to other guns in the category, it has to be one of the worst. I think I'm gonna put it with the MWAK in C tier. It could even be D tier, but for the sake of the rest of the tier list, there's other guns in D tier that's gonna be worse. So it's definitely a C tier AR. Next up is the AS Val. As you guys know, I dropped my 55 PR with this gun. It has the #1 time to kill in all of Warzone. The only problem, it has a 30 mag. So like, if it had a higher mag, I think it would be S tier, but since it only has a 30 mag, I might have to put it B tier, only because compared to other guns, it's way less usable or viable because of that mag size. So #1 time to kill, low mag size kind of ruins it, but still super solid. I think it can be A tier. I might swap that out at some point in the video, but as of right now, it's B tier. FAL, at one point the meta of Warzone got nerfed. It's not nearly as good anymore. I think I have to put it really low down. It can't be near the AS Val. It can't be with the AS Val, so it has to be another C tier gun, but it's still decent. It's still decent. Next up is the Pharah 83, another double AR meta type gun. I was literally running this as my main loadout gun for a long time. It recently did get a nerf, but it's still so good. I don't think it's as good as the CWAK anymore, but I'm gonna put it in B tier with the AS Val. Like, it's still so good, and it is coming off a span of time that it was meta, so it's still ridiculous. The FFAR, it got nerfed like 7 times because for so long there, it was literally the most dominant gun in the game, the most versatile, and it was just filthy. But like I said, it got nerfed multiple times. I think as of now in Warzone, it's gonna be B tier with the Pharah. I think those are very similar. It doesn't really have the strafe speed anymore. It still has the damage, but it's an awkward gun. It's slow now. The FR556 is literally awful. It sucks. I might have to put this in D tier. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put it in D tier because it just doesn't compare to any other gun in its category. Like, you guys are gonna see, I'm gonna have pistols and stuff in that category. Don't like really necessarily compare the pistols to the FR. It's more the FR compared to the other ARs. Like, it is nothing compared to the Amax, you know what I'm saying? Like, or the AS Val. It's honestly decent compared to the MWAK. I could low-key drop the MWAK. I might need to add another tier. Hold on, let me add another tier. Now we got the F tier, so you know, it's not that bad. The FR is definitely D tier. It's not anything compared to the other guns. The Grow, as you guys know, early Warzone, literally the best gun we saw in the game. It's still so good. Obviously not meta or anything, but I think it is a lot better than all of these guns. So I'm gonna put it in B tier with these guns. And you guys might be surprised, like some of you guys probably still use this gun mainly, but it's just not the meta. It just doesn't compare, honestly. Groza, another filthy gun. I'm gonna put it in B tier as well. Great up close, good range, everything. A lot of players are still running this as meta. I'm pretty sure Rated is running it. And as you guys know, I dropped a 40 with it on my first try ever using it, so it is disgusting. If you guys haven't already, go check out the last video. I dropped a kilo video. This thing was feeling amazing. As you guys already know, though, the close to medium range, it has insane damage, but it has one of the worst damage drop-offs in Warzone. So definitely give it a try for yourself. I dropped casual 30s all day with it yesterday, so give it a try. Let me know how that goes for you guys. But I think I'm gonna put it A tier. Like, it's so gross. Like, it's really good. No recoil, easy to use, very controllable, and like I said, that close to medium range, it has filthy damage. The Krig 6, A lot of people are running this as their main AR right now, especially with the Susat. It has no recoil. It hits somewhat hard. I personally don't like the Krig at all. Like comparing to the Amax and Kilo, I just wouldn't run it. I think I'm gonna put it high B tier. And trust, like these aren't really in order, but like I'm gonna put the Krig high B tier because I don't think it's as good as the Kilo or anything. A lot of people, like I said, are running it though. I just don't mess with it. You know what I'm saying? I just don't mess with it. Next up is the M13. Literally been around, and I feel like it's never changed throughout all of the lifespan of Warzone. It's just been a high fire rate tickling machine, bro. Like it just doesn't do damage. But you can make some class ups with it that feels really good. It just doesn't compare to the other ones. I think this is gonna have to be like a high C tier, low B tier. I'd rather use the Grow over it and the Groza. So I'm gonna put it above the MWAK. It is better than the MWAK, so it's a way higher C tier than that, but it is C tier. Like it's just not as good, you know what I'm saying? M4A1, I recently dropped a video on this as well. First game ever using it again since season 1 or 2 of the actual Warzone. I dropped a 44 with it. It is disgusting. I'm gonna put it right there with the Grow. I think that's where it fits best, because they're very similar guns, especially in today's meta. The Odin, honestly, I haven't used it too much recently. I might have to toss it and don't know, but I don't think it's changed that much since I used to make videos on it. So I could rank it. I think it's gonna be C tier. It's better than the FR. It's very hard hitting, but it has a slow fire rate, and it is very controllable, especially on PC with 120 FOV. So I'm gonna toss it in low C tier. Actually, I'm gonna put it right behind the M13. I'd rather use it over the 8K from MW, but I'd rather use the M13 over it. So I think that's a good spot for it. The Ram 7, very good TTK, controllable, everything. You can build it as a secondary, you can build it as a primary. It could be A tier. This Ram could be A tier. Yeah, I'm gonna put it A tier. It's super good. The Ram is actually super good. If you guys haven't used it already this season, definitely give it a try. I recently dropped a video on that as well, but I use it as a secondary. I gotta run it back and use that as a primary. Next up is the Scar. This thing is literally so bad. It's just as bad as the FR. It has no mag size. It does decent damage, but it's so bad. It's so bad. I'm gonna put it in D tier. It's terrible. XM4, very good double AR meta gun. Has that secondary AR. It had decent strafes, so I'm pretty sure they just nerfed it all. But the damage, everything is still so good. So I'm gonna have to probably put it B tier right now, only because it lost all its strafe speed. So I'm gonna put it right there with the Pharah and FAR, because they're all basically the same gun right now. That secondary AR type feel. Next up is the Bruin. We're getting into the LMGs. The Bruin, as you guys know, like a lot of these guns, at one point was the meta of Warzone, one of the most broken guns we ever had. And right now, I've recently tried it. It's still super good. It actually is still super good. It's better than all the C tier, so I'm gonna have to put it in B tier. It's definitely not what it used to be at S or A tier, but it is still disgusting. Definitely give it a try again this season if you haven't. The Finn is basically an LMG version of the M13. It's decent, but it's not anything crazy. Doesn't do much damage, but it is a beam. I think I'm gonna put it right there with the M13, like literally just side by side. They're basically the same gun. One's just slower and bigger. The Holger, terrible. I hate this gun so much, but I think I'd rather use it over like the FAL and AN94, and definitely these two. So I'm gonna put it right in front of the AN94 in C tier. I feel like I'm stacking C tier, but these are all decent guns, you know. M60, I hate this gun. If you guys ever watch my streams over on Twitch.tv/itsEyeQew, I get this in the Gouge. I get this off rip. It is my least favorite gun in the game. I don't care what anybody says in my comments. This is F tier. This gun is so bad. It has terrible recoil pattern. It doesn't do damage. Like, it just sucks. M91, I'm putting in, I'm probably gonna put low C tier. Nobody uses it though. Like, it's just not a used gun in Warzone, you know. Except as the MG34. It does somewhat good damage, but it's super slow for movement, ADS speed. I think I'd rather have the M91 over it. I think I'm gonna have to put it in either low C or D tier. But because I would use it over the FR and Scar, I'm gonna put it in low C tier. I think the C tier is like the most like mid tier. PKM, the best LMG in Warzone right now. I have to put it above the Bruin. I think this might be A tier. Like the PKM, it has very good ADS speed, especially if you build it right with the snatch grip, the tac laser. But the mobility sucks. The fire rate's pretty quick, but the time to kill is ridiculous out of all the LMGs. And it has to be A tier out of that category. It is pretty good. It actually is really filthy. RPD, I'll be honest, I've never actually built a class and used it in Warzone, so I'm gonna have to toss that and don't know. I've never like leveled it up or put attachments on it and genuinely tried it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of that gun if you guys have tried it. SA87, I made a video on this a while ago. It's really not good. I think I'd rather have an MG34. I'm gonna put it right there with it, because it's obviously better than the FR and Scar, but it's not that good. It's slow fire rate, slow ADS speed, slow everything. Just not that solid. Stoner, disgusting. Amazing fire rate, strafe speed, ADS speed sucks. Recoil is okay. Mobility is terrible. I think the PKM is better, but I'm gonna put it in super high B tier, like right above the Krig. It's still so good. Definitely give the gun a try if you haven't already, but it's not as good as a PKM in this game. Crossbow, never used it. I've never used either of the crossbows. I don't know what to tell you about those. Obviously nobody should be using those in Warzone, but EBR is terrible. I hate this gun. I'm putting it in D tier. I literally hate that gun. I don't know why it's even an option in Warzone, honestly. Kar 98, in my opinion, is S tier. It is the best option at sniping, even though, yeah, a lot of people say it's a marksman rifle. It's still the best sniper in Warzone. It's quick, it has amazing range. It doesn't really have a drop off. It doesn't really, you don't even need to lead it that much. You can quick scope with it. It is filthy. The amount of times I've hit clips with this gun is ridiculous. The Kar 98 is the best sniper in the game. MK2, terrible. I hate that gun. It's going in F tier, bro. If you're running around with an MK2, you're getting cooked on the map. I don't care what anybody says. If you have an MK2 carbine in your hand, you're getting cooked, okay? SKS, just as bad, but probably better than the MK2. I'm putting it in D tier because it's basically a stronger EBR, but it still sucks. So definitely don't use any of these guns. I don't know why they're even options, like I said. SPR, amazing sniper, really not much of a drop off. Damage is ridiculous. It's super solid. I'll put it in A tier because it's like that one step. It's like literally a step below the Kar 98. So it's right there with it. 74U, I won't cap. I don't use that gun. I think I've used it only ever once in Warzone. So I literally have no opinion on that gun whatsoever. The MW AUG, it's C tier. Just real quick, it has decent damage. It's slow, but it has all that stuff for, especially for an SMG. It's like an AR SMG, but it's just not that good. Like you shouldn't be running around the map with it. But it's still decent. It's still decent. Bison sucks in Warzone. It's so bad in Warzone. I think it's right there in the category with the AUG from Modern Warfare. It's definitely a C tier gun because I think I'd rather have it in my hand than any of these, but it still is not that amazing. Bullfrog, I am loving this gun. If you guys have watched any of my recent videos, I've been using it in every single loadout. I think I'm gonna have to put it A tier. Like as of right now, as meta, it rips. Like mobility, I have like one of the fastest moving class setups. My damage, no recoil. You guys gotta go back, give one of those class setups a try that I've given you. Like that Bullfrog is disgusting. Finnick, haven't used it much this season, but I did use it a ton in the past. It shreds. It's not anything special for like quads, but like if you're in solos or duos, this gun is literally like top tier. Like I'm gonna have to put it B tier because I think it's better than almost all these guns. Like it really does shred, but it's just not amazing for quads, and it's not like a meta gun, you know. So ISO, I don't have an opinion. In my opinion, it does suck. I've only ever used it once or twice though, so I can't really put it in a tier. But from the one or two times I've used it, it's been terrible. KSP, never used it. I literally have never even tried to level that gun up. I've seen some clips that I got sent to me that it can 1 or 2 burst because it's a burst SMG. But in my opinion, can't put it in a tier. I've never ever used it. LC10 is disgusting as of right now with this current season. This thing is really cooking. Like it has great damage, great fire rate, great movement. It's a lot like the Bullfrog, but I think it's one step lower. I'm gonna put it right above the Pharah. Like the LC10 is really gross right now. Mac 10, I don't know where this sits right now, honestly. I think it's right there with the LC10 and Bullfrog. I think it's better than the LC10, and it fits right with I'm gonna have to put it A tier. I don't know what the S tier SMG is. It could be the Bullfrog, but the Mac 10 is still super solid. It has great movement, damage, everything. Definitely give my setup a try. I dropped a 50 with that one, and then it hasn't been touched since, so super solid. Milano, terrible. I literally hate this gun. It literally, on rankings wise, has the worst time to kill in Warzone. I haven't used it that much, so typically I would put it in don't know, but it is that bad. I'm putting it in F. I hate it. CW MP5, super good damage. Overall, a super solid gun. I'm gonna have to put it right with the LC10. I think the LC10 is better, but the CW MP5 is super solid as well. It's a very good SMG. Definitely give that a try if you haven't. Modern Warfare MP5, I don't like that much this season. Like I won't lie, as of this season right now, I've tried it a few times. I just don't mess with it. I really don't like it that much. But as you guys know, the MW MP5 is the MW MP5. It's all reliable. It's still super good. But I think it's gonna fit right there with these SMGs like the LC10, MP5. I think I'd rather have the Bullfrog and Mac 10. I might have to bump the Bullfrog up because it is the meta SMG right now. But we'll think about it. The MW MP5 is definitely B tier as of today's meta. Uzi, haven't tried it in Warzone in forever. I don't have an opinion on it. CW AUG is pretty bad now. It got heavily nerfed. I don't see a single person on the map using it. Literally nobody runs around with it anymore. I think I'd rather use almost every B tier gun. I think it has to be like high C tier. Like they nerfed the fire rate, the damage drop off. Everything about the gun kind of sucks now because they heavy nerfed that in the M16. I think the M16 is slightly better still, but that AUG I've not seen a single person even attempt to use. DMR, I've made a few videos on this. I love going back to the DMR. It's so fun to use. If you can control it and you can handle the fire rate and the recoil that comes with it, it hits really hard still, and it's still a really good gun. I'm gonna actually put it high B tier. Because if you guys have seen my videos on it recently, it's still super solid in my opinion. Next up is the M16. Like I just told you guys, I think it's better than the AUG. So it has to be low B tier because they still both suck. Nobody should be running those two guns, but they're like not terrible, but they're definitely not amazing anymore. Type 63, no clue. I don't use that gun whatsoever. 725, I don't use this gun ever anymore, probably since Modern Warfare multiplayer. But I have used it in Warzone once or twice. I can tell you guys it's definitely not good. I would rather use a lot of guns over. I'm gonna put it D tier. I'd rather use it than these terrible guns. But it's not good at all. Gallo is definitely B tier. It's not as good as the Street Sweeper, but this thing still bodies people. I'm actually gonna, I actually am gonna put it A tier. The Gallo really does drop people, especially like you pick it up off the ground, you can 2 to 3 kill somebody. It is gross. Definitely try that. The Howard, terrible. I literally hate this gun so much. I don't care if people say you can one pump with it. The gun is terrible. Jack 12, I think I'm gonna put it B tier. It's not as good as the Gallo or the Street Sweeper, but it's still decent up close. It's not anything amazing, so it's gonna have to be B tier. Model 680, don't know, really never use it. Origin, this thing was literally running the map for a long time, but it got heavily nerfed. It's definitely still decent. I think I'm gonna put it right above the AUG. It's right there with the Jag 12, I think still, but it's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy anymore. R9, as you guys know, Dragon's Breath R9, this was the meta as well. Still not amazing. You can like 2 pump people, but I'd rather have the Jag 12 in the Origin now. I think I'm gonna put it low C tier for sure. Street Sweeper, as you guys, I've been saying, like this gun is literally so stupid how good it is. It has to be let me scroll up. It has to be S tier. Like up close, there is no possible way you beat the Street Sweeper. If you're in somebody's face, you are getting cooked by a Street Sweeper. It is literally ridiculous. It does have terrible mobility, the worst reload speed I've ever seen in my entire life, but the damage it puts out is unmatched. Like it's actually insane how good that thing is. Next up is the VLK Rogue. Haven't used this at all this season, but at one point it was super good. I'm gonna have to put it below the R9. I think it's gonna be right there in C tier though. AX50 has to be like a B tier sniper. In my opinion, I don't really like the AX50. Every single time I used to snipe with like actual heavy snipers, I never really liked the AX50. It's not that good, but it's still decent. Next up is the Dragunov. Literally terrible, but I don't know. I never use it. HDR has to be A tier. Insane range, insane everything. It has no drop off. You don't really even have a bullet drop or bullet lead. It's pretty good. It's definitely not as good as the Kar 98 in my opinion, or the SPR, but it's still up there with those two. M82, don't know. I've never used that gun. Pellington as well, I don't have it leveled up. Rytech, don't have leveled up. Tundra, don't have leveled up. I don't really use the snipers that much. Next up is the CW1911. It is the spawn pistol right now with the recent updates. It's not that good. It only has 8 bullets, but it's still decent off the ground. Obviously, it's not going to compete with much on the list. But I'm going to put it B tier, or not B tier, D tier. Out of the pistol category, it's not that bad. Especially comparing to these guns, like I'd rather have it. Like it's better than these 3. MW1911, it's literally the same gun, so I'm gonna just put it right with it. Deagle, don't know. Nobody uses it. It's probably right there with the 1911s. Diamatti, I love this gun, especially a single Diamatti. Tiger Team Spotlight, you're moving with it. Ghost off rip, it's super fun. I'm gonna have to put a B tier. Out of the pistol category, it's super good. Don't really compare it like to the other guns in B tier, but out of the pistols, it's top tier. Like it's super good. M19 isn't that good. I'm gonna have to put a C tier. It's better than the 1911s, especially if you make them akimbo. If you make them akimbo, they're fire. They are fire. Magnums, literally terrible. Renetti, pretty bad. Snake shots, terrible now, but I have to say don't know because I haven't tried them in the new season at all. So you guys can let me know if you have recently tried them, but ever since they got nerfed out of the beginning of the game, I've never tried them again. X16s akimbo are just as good as M19s, right there with them. Then down here we got the melee shield. Like, all this stuff's pretty pointless. The rest is different, but we are missing 2 guns. We're missing the Psychop and the Carve 2. If you're talking about the single Psychop 80 round drum off rip, it's just as good as the D-Money, if not better. It's probably high B tier or A tier, so imagine a Psychop is right here. And then the Carve 2 isn't that amazing. It's really good at close range, but at long range you're not going to hit all 3 bullets, and it's not amazing. So I'd probably put it low B or high C tier. So the Psychop is A or B, and the Carve is B or C. So just imagine those are there. This tier list just didn't have them. But overall, that is my whole tier list. I got the Amax, Car 98, and Street Sweeper S tier. I don't really have a meta SMG in there. I could bump up the Bullfrog in my opinion, because that's what I run every day. But this is overall the whole tier list. You guys might disagree with some, but the current state of Warzone doesn't really have a meta anymore. Like, you can use really anything and get past, you know what I'm saying? So let me know if you guys would change anything. A lot of guns in B tier. I could raise a few to A, especially like the AS Valor or Stoner or something, or even the FFA or Pharah or XM4. I'm actually gonna bump up the XM4 is an A tier gun. XM4 is an A tier gun. Okay, this is my final tier list. Let me know what you guys would change in the comments below. Tell me your guys' opinion. Just know, like, this is my personal opinion from like a pro player standpoint, constantly playing the game with the current meta. So like I said, let me know what you change. I have a lot of don't knows. These guns probably suck, but yeah, let me know what you change. It's my overall tier list, and definitely give all the guns a try you haven't already. That's the end of the video, so make sure hit the sub button, like, leave a comment, hit that bell to be notified when I upload my daily videos, and also make sure to follow the Twitch. I'm live over there every single day.